This one is, we're going to talk a little bit about some of more of the things that I'm going to do when I'm the mayor of Lone Tree. I'm not going to go into my 4 priorities. You'll see them on my website. But I really do and truly have to endorse or talk to you a little bit about how I envision solving our problems and some of the endorsement issues that we have. Okay, I'll tell you a little bit to start with. Number 1, as I mentioned, traffic issues, traffic congestion, and recreation. Those issues are bigger than Lone Tree. And, you know, part of the reason that they're bigger than Lone Tree is because they involve other municipalities, and we have to sit down and work with other municipalities and counties to find a collaborative solution to put those in place. And I think I've done that. I've developed all these relationships over the years, as I've mentioned to you. But let me just take a moment and talk about this. One of the things that has come up is, you know, endorsements. Elton, who are you going to be endorsed by? You know, gee, Jim's getting all these other endorsements. Well, listen, I never went to any of the people at Lone Tree. I never went to the mayor or any of my fellow councilmen because I didn't want to put them in a position, and they and I had discussed this in the last 6 months to a year, put them in a position where they might endorse me and then I lose, well, then they got to work with the other guy. So I never approached any of those people. So I took the standpoint of, hey, relationships and solving collaborative problems. And how are we going to do that? And I'm looking at the letters that I have here right here. Mayor Casiano of Parker, Colorado. He says, I believe Elton Winters has been and will continue to be a great asset to Lone Tree. He and I worked together to create the Parker Lone Tree Dispatch Center, and it really benefits both of us. It saves us a lot of money. Elton and I are now working together. This is the mayor of Parker. Elton and I are now working together with the county commissioners to find a new way to build the east-west road from Ridgegate, our new interchange heading west into downtown Parker. I set that up about 2 months ago. Collaborative thing. Mayor of Parker. Oh, wait a minute. Mayor of Greenwood Village, Nancy Sharp. For many years, Elton has supported Lone Tree and other communities along the I-25 South Corridor on regional issues of significance. He has worked effectively with business leaders to support legislative initiatives that help enhance our economic vitality and economic development. Greenwood Village, Mayor Nancy Sharp. Thank you, Mayor. Here's one from Jane Stivell. Let me tell you who Jane Stivell is. She was one of the 4 founders of Lone Tree. She's a good friend of mine. I was on the original council. She was a founder, and she was the first mayor pro tem for 8 years. She said Elton's willing to learn, willing to embrace new ideas. He has contacts with Parker, with Castle Rock. One time we had a problem, and Elton got a hold of a former councilman, and he's the current minority leader of Colorado State House, Mike May. And within days, Elton and I, Jane and I, sat down and had a face-to-face meeting with those Parker officials, and they've been causing us problems. And Jane and I went over and solved that problem, and she says, and Elton did it through his ideas. And she also goes on here to say that Elton's willingness to learn, and he thinks out of the box, and he's always coming in with good ideas. Thank you, Jane. She's a great person. Mayor Randy Reed, Castle Rock, Colorado. Beautiful little town, an isolated city, 10 minutes south of us, total full-service city. Elton is a great asset to the city of Lone Tree and has been instrumental in finding regional solutions for issues like transportation and issues like recreation, things that affect Douglas County and the towns of Parker, Castle Rock, and Lone Tree. Elton knows well, and I'm glad that he is now the chairman of the Partnership of Douglas County Governments. Randy is my friend. Randy was the former chairman. He's the mayor of Parker. This is from, this is a letter, and it's went to the editor. Elton Winters for full-time mayor. I guess people do realize that I have retired and I'm doing this full-time. You know who this letter is signed by? It's signed by Roger Pearson, a former city councilman, great guy. It's signed by Gary Ullman. Gary was one of our original councilmen with me and with Jane. It's signed by Dr. Doug Forster, my treasurer for my campaign. Dr. Doug was one of the original councilmen with us as well. So it's signed by all those people, as well as Nora Pearson. They sent it in, and it says right here that Elton serves on the Southeast Business Partnership. That's a lobbying group that I would serve on that helps get economic development activity up and down the I-25 corridor. Elton serves on the Chamber of Commerce. He's on the Issues Committee for the Colorado Municipal League. I don't know if you know what the CML is, but the Colorado Municipal League is a group that lobbies the state legislatures to prevent them from passing legislation that affects us negatively, and lobbies them to make sure that they get our legislation through. So whenever the state is in session and they pass something, sometimes it has negative consequences on the city of Lone Tree, on municipalities. They protect it. I serve on 3 committees here, it says, that they're telling you. As a young retiree, Elton is able to pick up the phone and call the superintendent of schools, Jim Christensen. I got a letter here from Dr. Christensen, too. He thanked me for all his leadership. Jim is a great guy. Thank you. Thank you. Here's one from Kevin Naiman. Kevin Naiman was the original chairman of the Lone Tree Initiative Committee. That's the lobbying group that helped start this city. They raised money. Kevin said that he served as our treasurer. He was the original city treasurer. These are folks that I have worked with. Elton realizes that Lone Tree's problems, as well as their solutions, he said, don't necessarily begin and end at our city. He's aware that it takes a full community effort. Full community effort. Thank you, Kevin. And he goes on about those types of things. Gosh, I've talked about relationships before. I've talked about the importance of relationships. I've talked about endorsements. Hey, let me tell you, if we had everybody out here in the city endorsing me, we wouldn't have any new creative ideas. I don't get a lot of endorsements from the local councilman, and I'll tell you why, because I question how they spend money. I bantered with the mayor. I'm one of the only councilmen who would ever banter with him in public at meetings. I would banter with him during the study sessions. You know, I think it's important that you have more creative ideas that the council puts forward. And if 3 members of the council like it and the other 2 don't, well, by golly, those 2 of us who don't like the ideas need to tell those other 3s, because you stifle creativity if you always have a 5-0 vote. So I went after these endorsements, and I didn't ask for endorsements of the others, and I'm not ashamed to tell you that I caused some conflict and I helped solve problems by bringing those conflict and asking the tough questions to protect your taxpayers' dollars, to make sure we're not spending it on projects we shouldn't be, but to at least reevaluate it.